¿Qué tal, amigos de CINEGamers? Y bienvenidos a un nuevo video de The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt con su buen amigo Peter, que en esta ocasión les traigo el episodio número 102, que como pueden ver está un poquito largo y recuerden que esta parte la grabo después para hacer un pequeño intro. La misión se divide en dos partes y es misión principal, entonces... Así como lo hice con Opción de Caballero, que les puse muchas como que subpartes y les dividí el video, en este también lo voy a hacer. Si lo estás viendo en computadora vas a poder ver esos cortes, no estoy seguro si en los celulares se ve, pero de todas maneras en la descripción del video se puede ver. Porque también voy a hacer una misión secundaria que es parte de las misiones por si metiste la pata antes para Irondite. Entonces aquí también tienes otra opción, creo que es en sabiduría, porque a la bestia que podemos matar la voy a curar. También cabe mencionar, amigos, que esta misión se puede, aunque es parte de esta de pasar el trance, puedes hacerla primero si es que llegaste ahí. Romper la maldición o no, quedarte con la savia de esta criatura y entonces los diálogos cambian ligeramente a la hora que la tienes que buscar, pero la voy a hacer en el orden que en teoría se debería de hacer, aunque insisto se pueden hacer algunos cambios. Y también dependiendo si juegas Blood and Wine antes de acabar el juego, antes de encontrar a Ciri, también cambian algunas frases, aunque no muchas. Pero bueno, dicho todo eso, vamos a darle a esta misión. Aquí estamos. Esto es lo más cerca que estoy. Aquí vamos a llegar. Pasar el trance, como pueden ver. Esta es una misión principal. Digo, también en el video se los debo estar poniendo que es misión principal. Ya ven que ahí les pongo como en datos si es secundario o principal para los que luego tengan duda. Aunque es medio obvio porque aquí sale Regis. Nivel 87 y nosotros somos 90. Voy a hacer un corte en donde llego allá y ahorita los veo. Y aquí va a haber varios enemigos, o va a ser el mismo enemigo que es como esta flor gigante. La verdad es que es divertida, es algo nuevo con Blood and Wine. Puede ser un poco castrante al principio, pero simplemente es como entender cómo es que funciona. Y de ahí en fuera pues es usar las mismas pociones de siempre, de crítico y demás, para poder aguantar, para poder ponerte Gent lo más rápido posible y así aguantar los golpes. Porque si no falla la memoria causa hemorragia. También otra cosa que puedes hacer es romperle como que las otras tallos. Y entonces ya la obligas a que ya no pueda salir por esos tallos y que se quede en uno solo. Cuando haces eso generalmente pega como que su tipo boca al suelo para crear nuevos tallos. Entonces en ese tiempo que tienes para darle como 5 golpes aproximadamente. Puede ser que unos 2 más. Pero por ejemplo ahí las estuvo creando. No sé si se pudo ver, pero ahí las estuvo creando. No me acuerdo si hay 2 o 3. Mucho de esquivar. Y sé que falta otra. Yo me acuerdo que debería de haber 2. Por cierto, Regis, no podemos entrar. Muchas gracias, Regis. Pero hay una segunda forma de entrar, que es a través de la cueva. De hecho, ya se pueden meter si no quieren pelearse con el otro. Ahorita vamos a tocar la puerta.
Regis. Damn it. Locked. No way I got the place wrong. This is it. Gotta be another way in around here.
El Morgul me da lo mismo. Perdí el Ken, pero al menos no perdí más vida. Podemos revivir una vez por cualquier cosa. O sea, de que nuestra vida llegue a cero y que se vaya al tope. ¿Quieren saber cómo? Ahí está la build definitiva en donde explico cómo es que hacemos eso. Está bien lejos. Ahí está. Tú pon tus semillas, de todas maneras ya vas a morir. Esta misión es la mitad de la misión es mucha plática, pero plática muy interesante, sobre todo si leíste los libros. Hay cosas muy padres y se resuelven dudas. La verdad es que aquí se nota cómo es un muy buen fanservice, cómo hay gente que... creo que la palabra sería también como fanmade, porque nada de esto es canon, tristemente. Pero lo hacen tan bien que parece ser que el escritor les ayudó. Bueno, sí, hasta cierto punto pues el escritor parece ser que les ayudó cuando cero que ver. O sea, es absurdo el amor que le tienen a los libros de Yal de Rivia. Y esta misión, muchas de las cosas que se ven es como una carta de amor para aquellos que leyeron los libros. Si no lo leíste, aún así creo que está padre, pero tiene mucho más feeling cuando los leíste. Y se los digo por experiencia, como alguien que primero no los había leído. Aquí voy a tener que cerrar, por cierto. Los leí, luego volví a jugar esta misión y el sentimiento fue completamente diferente.
Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megoscope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kobinares' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kobinares never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kobinares gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Dettlaff was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlaff's hideout.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. and the reason why I in turn gave it to Dettlaff. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
Can't you just summon Dettlaff? You're both higher vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlaff. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quicker and easier.
Covenarius spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Dettlaff's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's Mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were cold to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned. Him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
Rarely say no to a snifter.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion rather than a proper distillate.
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
So, think you've set a nice little trap for me? Sorry. Want to get me to confess? Gonna have to try harder.
I love a challenge. In that case, my ears are cocked. What must I do?
How about you get the ball rolling? Reveal one of your secrets. Vampires, intriguing creatures, must lead fascinating lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Curious what you did after you were reborn.
As I'm sure you can surmise, but first I was thoroughly absorbed with recovering. As it is, I've still not recovered completely. Yet I was so weak the first year that I could not stand or move on my own. Dettlaff bore my weakness bravely, showed great patience. If not for him, I wouldn't be here, and I'd have regenerated far slower. Once I could at last stand unassisted, I set off for Bruges, for my one-time home of Dillingen. There I led the peaceful life of a rural healer and surgeon, enjoying my neighbours' respect and, in fact, constituting the exact opposite of the monstrous vampire the populace imagines.
Bruges, you say? Rebirth make you sentimental?
Perhaps a dash. But what of you? Where have you been? Ever find your Cyrilla?
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after. And when the time was ripe, she came back. Defeated the Wild Hunt together.
Ooh. Seems I certainly missed quite a bit while I was absent.
True enough. But it's a conversation we'll have another time. Need to know more about you now. Gotta ask you the big question. One everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well-founded? Well, that I do not know. We vampires differ exceedingly from you humans. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart, nor a brain, nor air to breathe.
But were you dead?
As humans understand death, yes.
Feel anything? Understand anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name, for I did no reasoning. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold and unimaginable fear. If not for Defflat, I might have drowned in an eternity of icy terror.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that must be vicious.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. You will die. It's but a question of time. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.
Got a new life, a new body. That give you a new start, blank slate?
Starting all anew is a very broad concept. What exactly do you mean?
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Defflat recreating you out of a wet smear? Something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible, as my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit, but Triss helped me get it back. Actually, pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, it's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to crack. If a member of another race kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
All right, give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say, but I shall do my best to make it count. If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a witcher?
See, Regis. Doubt I'd know how to be anything else.
Ever tried?
See, you're determined to get an answer, to find out if I like being a witcher. Just refuse to ask directly, as always. I like being on the path. I like picking up a lead, a trail. I like the tension right before a fight. And nothing gets my adrenaline flowing like battling a beast. Even gotten used to people treating me like a freak, an outcast. Yeah, not something I think about much. but I like being a witcher.
Thank you for being honest. Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that for a moment.
Si no me falla la memoria, esta parte se la saltan si ya hiciste la misión que vamos a hacer en un momentito. Porque ya se lo das y dices, ah, bueno, pues pasémonos a lo siguiente. Entonces la misión duraría mucho menos. Pero bueno.
Ever vigilant even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Appreciate the compliment. Got something for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence in the Caraberta woods.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive your brethren's onslaught. It seems I know this home it haunts. Recall a tale about it. Locals believe the place cursed. Perhaps that's how the whites survived entirely unmolested.
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly intelligent creatures, and they've highly developed observational skills.
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate, it's covered in spoons.
Spoons?
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder, or the spoons are somehow related to the curse.
Know anything else about this curse?
I don't recall much in particular. Really don't attach much importance to such things. It was mentioned to me as an anecdote, no more.
Come on, search your memory. Something, anything could be important.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or, perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something...
Textbook definition of a curse, pretty much.
Sorry, Geralt, I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen to hear. What are your thoughts?
A specimen of a species thought long extinct, and a curse in one place. That a coincidence, or are they related?
Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against you delving into this dilemma, but please remember we need the white's saliva. Nothing beyond that.
Let's do this. Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white. Uses it in its brews.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought, but the salivary glands will do fine indeed.
So, see you later.
Yes, till later. I shall start by perusing some tomes.
Tomes? Thought you were gonna make this decoction.
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome. Thus, I hope to identify a suitable alternative.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.
Ok, pues 360 está bastante bien. De hecho, al menos a nivel 91 sí llegamos. Quizás nos quedamos a un piquito para el 92. Insisto, si la misión que vamos a hacer ahorita, que sigue siendo esta, ya la hicieron, pues se siguen y se ahorran unos 20 minutos. Pero bueno, voy a hacer unos viajes rápidos y demás. Aquí en necrófagos. Solo lo pongo como opcional. Ni siquiera me acuerdo si nos dan algo de puntos. Creo que igual y no. Pero bueno, ahí está para que más o menos sepan. Pueden derrotar a este enemigo o pueden romper la maldición. Si rompen la maldición, cuenta para Iron Date. Sobre todo si metieron la pata con la sabiduría. Aquí tienen otra oportunidad. Y además, espero que no hayan metido la pata con la sabiduría. Porque el acertijo se me hace muy sencillo. Es 1000 veces peor esto. Enemigos por todos lados, pero ya estamos cerca de la puerta. Aunque no lo crean, luego tengo que pensar en qué momento volver a hablar para yo también saber en qué momento les hago los cortes y regreso a la acción. Entonces yo creo que por aquí más o menos está bien. Siempre que hago esta misión traigo la armadura del oso, entonces eso no va a cambiar. Me encanta la cinemática que aparece aquí y traer esta armadura. Por cierto, esta misión descubrí cómo se hacía a través de prueba y error, prueba y error, prueba y error. Vamos por acá.
Strange. I sense that the spoons are beating out some kind of rhythm, a message, trying to tell me something. None shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror. Sounds like a curse, all right. Somebody's clearly obsessed. Regis mentioned the place might be cursed. Can't be a coincidence. Need to look around. What a pigsty. Need to search it thoroughly. Find a way to collect some white saliva.
Voy a ver muchas cucharas,
White's obsessed. Real collector. Thoroughbred.
Una vez...
Spoon's incredible. The craftsmanship. Must have graced a rich man's
De las muchas veces que he acabado este juego, una vez dije, ¿saben qué? No, ya sé dónde está, me fui para abajo e hice todo. Menos ponerme a ver lo de las cucharas.
Smashed mirror. As if someone couldn't stand to look at themselves.
Entonces no me apareció la opción para romper la maldición y fue así de, oh. Y la tuve que matar. Entonces solo 2 veces he tenido que matar a esta persona maldita. Una vez fue para ver qué pasaba y la otra vez fue por adelantarme.
No spoon you have shall sate you.
Entonces esto que estoy haciendo,
Here treated that literally. Still searching for the right spoon.
háganlo así tal cual.
Spoon, pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old.
Porque si luego alguien me dice, es que no me aparece la opción.
Skeletons. Doubt they came here willingly. This have anything to do with the curse? None shall sit and dine with you at your table. It makes sense.
Es porque les pasa lo mismo que a mí. Para que llegue a la conclusión y que les aparezca esa opción, tienen que pasar por todo esto, ver cucharas, ver la mesa, todo esto que estoy haciendo. Todo esto es esencial.
Spoon key. Sophisticated crafting. Tag bears a description. White's a true collector.
Ya estamos cerca de...
Actually does seem like a White's lair. Bit atypical, but still. Cauldron should be somewhere around here. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. Thousands of them here. White's been a collector for years.
Creo que con esto ya tenemos lo suficiente. Solo tenemos que ir a la mesa y ya que nos da la opción de escondernos. Y de ahí pues sigan mis pasos para romper la maldición. Listo. Si hicieron todo lo que yo hice ahorita, no deben de tener ningún problema para romperla.
When I was looking for, White's not particularly tidy. Tables set. White who lives here is getting ready for some sort of feast. Cauldron's empty, unfortunately. Regis needs some brew. I'm afraid he won't get that. No choice but to hide and wait for the saliva glands and their bearer. Need a spot that'll let me observe the cauldron. Not gonna hurt you. Wanna help? I've seen the words of the curse on the walls. Think I know how to lift it. Tried to bring folk here, convince them to sit at the table with you, right? Well, I'm gonna be your guest now. Your willing guest. Just need a bit for Regis. And now we'll tend to you. We can't use spoons. No, that won't work. You've been looking for a spoon that would feed you, but there's no such spoon. We need to eat without spoons. Likeness. Think it worked. Just not quite like I expected. Need to see what happened to the white. Won't be hard to find given its stench.
Bueno, de aquí ya para terminar esta misión simplemente me siguen y hay que seguir el olor, pero también algo que nos ayuda mucho es, por ejemplo, esta zona amarilla. Van a volver a salir algunos enemiguillos, lo cual también está bueno porque si nos siguen dando mutágenos, let's go. Y aquí está.
Shh, easy. Not gonna hurt you.
Eat. I must eat.
I'll take you someplace safe.
Ahorita que explican un poquito más de su maldición, van a ver que les va a recordar mucho a la versión de La Bella y la Bestia de Disney. Van a decir, esto yo ya lo había visto antes.
So I took her by the hand and led her here. Seemed the only sensible place for her.
You did the right thing, sir. She should recover quickly here. Don't worry, sir. I shall see to everything. She is safe here and in good hands. She'll soon be back on her feet.
Might actually take a while. She hadn't eaten anything in over 100 years when I found her.
Horrid. Whatever brought this about?
Told me her story on the way here. Her name's Marlena. She was once the very beautiful and proud heiress to the Trastamara estate. One evening, when she was holding a banquet for friends, a beggar came to her gate seeking alms. He had a bowl and a spoon with him. He sat outside her fence and waited.
I've heard of the custom. An ancient rite of hospitality that obliges one to give food and drink to such a guest lest he depart hungry. To neglect the custom is to bring great misfortune down upon oneself.
Marlena didn't care a whit for the old customs. She drove the man off, saying she'd rather feed the leftovers from her feast to her dogs than to give the beggar anything. The beggar then broke his spoon, cast a curse. She was beautiful, so he said she'd never wish to look at herself in the mirror again. Since she adored feasts, he swore no one would ever wish to sit and dine with her. And as she even refused him the crumbs from her table, he swore she'd never find a spoon in the world that would sate her hunger.
A harsh punishment. I imagine lifting the curse was hardly simple.
Curses are tricky. They play on irony. Always gotta figure out what the catch is. Marlena had spent decades looking for a way to lift it. Transformed into a wight, she stole spoons and lured folk into her home, trying each time to get them to dine with her. Didn't work.
So what did?
Someone had to sit down and share a meal with her, of their own free will. They had to eat without using spoons, and make her look at her reflection.
That's it? That was all it required?
Simplest solutions are sometimes the last that come to mind. Besides, when you're a wight, it's pretty damn hard to find willing human company for a feast.
I imagine so. But, most importantly, it is now over. Please, don't worry. She will be in good hands here.
Thanks. Gotta get back to my business now. See you soon.
De aquí se activa otra misión en la cual tienen que pasar como 7 días. Regresas a hablar con ella y se acaba. Es una misión microscópica. Si quieren lo pueden hacer de una vez. Para si no se sienten que quieren perder el tiempo y demás. Y en mi caso, pues se los pondré en el video de mañana, pero yo creo que algunos me la van a mentar, porque no va a durar nada ese video, va a durar como 4 minutos. Pero bueno, después de videos de 1 hora o más. Amo la magia de la edición. Y créanme que todavía nos falta, todavía nos falta algo en donde vamos a encontrar una armadura que en la comunidad he visto que les encanta mucho esa armadura. Tiene como que cierto homenaje al conde Drácula, Vlad el Empalador. Siempre que la veo tengo como que esa idea en mente.
Think your friend's hand will make for a nice broth?
You've clearly honed your sense of humor. But we are not cannibals, Geralt. I took a fragment of tissue from the hand. It will suffice to prepare some resonance.
What did you do with the rest?
I cremated it, as our codex commands. A raven told me you'd acquired the necessary ingredient.
Pretty helpful creatures. Call on them often?
I try not to overdo it, but they can be so useful, as they were now, when I merely needed to be sure I could arrive in time should things go sour.
Managed fine alone, but thanks for the thought. Gonna need much longer to finish brewing resonance? Mentioned a last ingredient, too. What about that?
That, I fear, might prove troublesome. You see, to use the concoction to summon the memories of one, the solution must contain the blood of another specimen of the same species.
Shouldn't be a problem. I happen to know a higher vampire who should be willing to help. Right, Regis?
It's not that simple, I'm afraid. While you were away, I tried my damnedest to identify a replacement, but alas, none such exists.
Not sure I understand what the problem is. Can't we just draw some of your blood?
The blood must be in an agitated state. As I'm certain you know, higher vampires can change their corporeal shell. As our flesh changes, so does our blood's chemical composition. To make a long story short, I shall need to induce in myself a state of strong psychokinetic arousal. In brief, madness, rabidity. And that stands to be very, very dangerous.
Dangerous? Why? I mean, you'll still be you, right?
True, but I shall be highly agitated, in a state of fury. You know better than I that fury cannot be controlled. If you've ever seen an enraged vampire, you know very well that all who find themselves nearby will be in grave danger.
How will we handle that? I'd rather not have you lunge at me, claws extended.
That makes two of us. But worry not. I've thought it through very thoroughly. Details to follow soon.
All right, so what do you want to do?
We shall visit Teshamudna, an ancient vampire estate. There we will find cages suspended in the air. I will enter one, be confined. You will lure beasts there. Beasts you will then kill. The bloodletting should prove profuse. Abundant enough so that the blood scent will drive me mad. Wild.
Teshamudna. What's it like?
It is a place of torment. A torture chamber. Long ago, shortly after we'd arrived in this world, one among us named Kagmar developed such a taste and lust for human blood that in one night he could imbibe an entire village. This brought trouble on the entire species. Common folk wearied quickly of living in constant fear. They began to hunt us, seek the aid of mages and witches in tracking us down.
So what? Not like they could ever hope to kill you.
But they were bothersome. Forgive the comparison, but when did you last enjoy mosquitoes buzzing around your head? In any case, the other vampires decided something had to be done. Kagmar had to be caught and punished. A torture chamber was thus outfitted in the dungeons of Teshamudna. Inside it, a cage made entirely of a special alloy of silver, dalvinite, and meteorite steel. Kagmar was captured and locked in the cage. Sat there over 2 centuries, driven to fury time after time, never able to escape. Thus I know the cage will withstand the fury to which we shall drive my humble being.
See no reason to dawdle. Teshamudna. Take me there.
In a moment. Just one last thing.
What was that?
Blood. Oh, the last favor the Raven did me. I've also taken some Sancurium, a solution that sharpens one's sense of smell. One drop of blood shall smell like a gallon to me now.
You crazy? You're a recovering addict.
Your outrage warms my heart, Geralt, but you must remain calm. I have no choice. As things stand, the die is cast. High time we set off for Teshamudna. My head's spinning already, and you're starting to smell quite tasty.
And you're starting to scare me.
We have arrived. The sacrificial chamber of torture and torment lies underground.
Sure you know what you're doing?
I can only hope I do. Please, let's go. The longer we delay, the less control I shall have of my faculties. I'd really prefer not to hurt you.
You lead. Scurvers must be getting close to their feeding ground.
Correct. I told you there'd be danger. Beyond this wall lies...
An ancient vampire dungeon. Seen a lot of things in my time. Nothing quite like this, though.
I feel honored. A man with such a wealth of experience, yet I'm about to show him something new. Now, to open it.
How the hell?
It's an ancient form of protection against unwanted guests. A mechanism which releases the latch reacts only to a higher vampire's blood.
Tricky mechanisms, a vampire hideout. Fortified, secured. Must have been important to your species once, Toussaint.
It shall always be so. During the conjunction, the gate from our world to this one opened upon this land and no other. This was the first place we saw.
Por aquí está lo que les dije de la armadura. Está como en 3 cofres, una cosa así. Espada y pantalones y la armadura, creo que ahí estaba. Faltan guantes y las botas.
This place. There's evil here. Death hangs in the air.
Yes. A great many beings have breathed their last here.
Que yo me acuerde, aquí están las botas y la máscara. Y me falta ya solo los guantes. Y los guantes están en una de estas celdas destruidas.
Cells. Who for?
Ah, disgraceful. Excruciatingly so, this particular page from our history. I'd rather not summon the demons of the past if it's alright with you.
Ahí están.
Charming place. But what are all those cages for? Mentioned one vampire being kept here.
Yes, well, you see, humanitarians is something my ancestors were not. They concluded Kagmar would best be punished if he were tormented with the scent of blood he could not taste. Thus, they also kept humans here. Humans whose blood they slowly let. Kagmar ranted and raged in pain as those humans slowly bled to death.
They treated them like livestock. Live bait.
I'd like to be able to turn back time, deny it, but alas, I can do neither. Feel shame for my brethren. That is all I can do.
Don't take it so hard. Nothing you could have done about it. Let's get to work.
Well, that was awkward. Fine. I prepared the bait. Please be so kind and place it, ideally at the tunnel entrances. The scent will spread most effectively then. Place the bait at the tunnel entrances. Monsters will catch its scent more quickly.
When I think how these tunnels got here, send shivers.
It was the natural order of things. The place reeked of death and it attracted necrophages.
Aquí hay que usar art. Esto sí no hay forma de cómo adelantarlo, porque tiene que venir con nuestros Regis y así. Generalmente pueden ver como que unas manchas de sangre.
3 done, 1 left. Think this'll work?
I certainly hope so. Need stages so thick and wagering carries clear to Novigrad.
Bait set. What now?
I shall enter the cage. You must chain me inside. The bars are made of an alloy that will prevent me from transforming into mist.
Kinda thought you wouldn't want to.
I shall be in great pain. My sole thought being to stop that pain. I cannot know what I will do. We must hurry. The beasts have caught the scent also. My head started spinning.
That the blood?
Someone who's never experienced a vampire's bloodlust does not know the true meaning of thirst.
Maybe we need a safe word. You know, something you'll say when you can't take it anymore.
And
Aquí va a salir unos... Creo que eran... ¿Cómo se llamaba este enemigo? Este es un enemigo que luego muchos de ustedes me están preguntando y preguntan que dónde lo encuentran. El problema es que también salen estos de acá que explotan y además como estamos en marcha mortífera, de un solo estallido, aún con Ken, nos matan. Entonces es, como estamos super overpower, de un solo golpe ya explotan. Si damos otro segundo, nos estallan en la cara y ya valió. Por eso es que tengo que estar dando golpes así. Pero si pudieran deshacerse de uno de estos vampiros, no son superiores, son como quimeras, creo que eran. No, tampoco son quimeras. Tienen un nombre y ahorita no me acuerdo. Pero bueno, estos son los monstruos que quieren porque son los que luego tienen el mutágeno que necesitan para hacer por primera vez la poción que yo utilizo para recuperar vida. Pero pues tengo que cuidarme de que no me estallen en la cara. Entonces pues, y además como yo ya lo tengo. Si vayan jugando en fácil, ahí sí resisten el trancazo.
dry in a few hours. Scent won't bother me Get you out of here.
The concoction.
You can't finish it in this state. Tell me how. I'll help you. Any better?
Far from ideal. And some time must pass before I fully recover. But yes, a bit better, thank you.
Never expected it to be like that. You didn't tell me.
We need not discuss it.
But we do. Because if I'd known you were going to subject yourself to torture...
What would you have done?
Found Dettlaff some other way.
I did not wish you to use any other way. Did that occur to you?
No, because I thought no being would ever willingly subject itself to that kind of pain. You vampires aren't any different from us in that regard.
I told you, the pain is my way of paying my debt. The enormous debt I owe Dettlaff. If I had to do it again, I would in a heartbeat.
Resonance, it's ready.
Are you certain you followed the formula? The proportions were exact, the brewing time precise. This is important, Geralt. The slightest deviation could cost even a witcher dearly.
Relax. Got some experience brewing potions.
Very well. In that case, let's begin.
Excuse me. I shall only take a moment.
You jumped the queue, sir.
But Count, sir, you must understand. I've a meeting. The Count...
Sir, you were next. Please, take a seat. This gentleman was here first. Step down or you shall regret it.
Ah, fails to realize he was your friend, Count.
It was then I ordered him to give up his seat and step off the stand. If only you'd seen his face. We got him good, didn't we, Dettlaff? And then Mother insisted we buy the mill. Curious, eh? But at least I've a yarn to spin for friends and associates.
Forgive me.
What?
Awake at last. You writhe like a squirrel caught in a snare. I'd begun to fear they were death throes, that you'd departed.
Sure wasn't pleasant, but it worked.
What did you see?
Delacroix. His death did not come easy. Seems Detlaff had made friends with him, still killed him, and chopped up his corpse. And he was overcome with fury, remorse, cut off the hand that had committed the murder.
Interesting. And entirely unlike the Detlaff I know. See anything else?
Saw a moment. Delacroix did something selfless. Was kind to Detlaff. Guess it could have been the start of their friendship.
Why the uncertainty?
Nothing extraordinary about it. Normal, everyday situation, really. Visions were supposed to issue from strong emotions.
Clearly the situation provoked such emotions in Detlaff. Keep in mind, he did later murder Delacroix. Killing someone who's grown dear to us, it's bound to elicit strong emotion. Vampires are no different in that regard. Did you see anything else?
There was something. Showed up twice in the vision. A bootblack stand. Detlaff first met Delacroix there. Went back after the murder, actually.
Peculiar.
Stand was somewhere in the Port District. And the bootblack acted as if he knew Detlaff.
That would be even odder. Perhaps we should have a chat with the lad. Though I would expect no breakthroughs.
It's our only lead. I'll go talk to him. Coming with.
I shall join you later if it's no trouble. I don't yet feel strong enough to venture out.
That's fair. Rest up. Be back as soon as I learn anything.
Y bueno, yo creí que nos íbamos a quedar a puntito del 92, pero no. Sí vimos 2 niveles en esta misión. Lo importante es una misión principal y lo importante de haberla hecho cuando todavía valía la pena hacerla para que nos dieran muy buen puntaje. Gracias por haber visto este video, amigos. Espero que les haya servido los marcadores que les dejé, en donde se veía una u otra cosa, para que también fuera un poco más amigable para ustedes si quieren repetir algo o así. Si les gustó el video, ya saben que ese like siempre hace la diferencia. Mañana será un video extremadamente cortito, pero pues bueno, llevamos varios largos, entonces así se medio compensa. Que estés bien y hasta el siguiente video. Bye bye.